Daughter wakes up with bruises daily. Look what mom finds on camera. Louisa is frozen in her tracks as she watches the secret footage of her daughter Millie sleeping. She blinks 4 times thinking she was seeing things, but she wasn't. She feels sick to her stomach. This had to be a joke, right? This was her little girl. How could this happen? Louisa watches her daughter on the footage and a shiver creeps up her spine. There was no coming back from this. Louisa Smith and her husband Richie had a perfect life. A gorgeous home, fantastic kids, and an 8-year-old daughter called Millie. She was a cheeky little girl who loved nothing more than making other people laugh. Yes, Louisa thought nothing could ever go wrong in her perfect life. But this devoted mom had no idea what was coming. One Sunday morning, the early morning sun was creeping through the windows, while the Smith family were sat around the table ready to eat their freshly made breakfast. But when 8-year-old Millie reached over for a piece of toast, her mom Louisa noticed something about her daughter that left a shiver up her spine. Millie grabbed a piece of toast and straight away her mom Louisa saw a light bruise on her arm. The worried mom asked Millie what had happened, but the little girl said she didn't know. Louisa carried on eating her breakfast, all the while wondering where the bruise had come from. But when she finally found out the truth, she was horrified. When Louisa found out she was pregnant with Millie 8 years ago, she was ecstatic. She and her husband Richie had been trying for a baby for a couple of years, and finally their hard work paid off. But despite her initial excitement, Louisa's pregnancy wasn't exactly a walk in the park. All throughout her pregnancy with Millie, Louisa suffered from backache and pain, and she was throwing up at least 3 times a day. She worried something was wrong, so she visited her doctor in hopes that he could help her. Unfortunately, Louisa's doctor dismissed it as just a pregnancy side effect. Louisa went home thinking everything was okay. But in reality, everything was far from okay. After having a pregnancy from hell, Louisa was relieved when her waters broke, and she finally went into labor. And so, 5 hours later, little Millie was born. As soon as Louisa laid eyes on her baby girl, she knew she was something special. But she had no idea what was going to happen later on in this girl's life. When Louisa saw the bruise on 8-year-old Millie, she felt panic creep up her spine. She thought it might have been an accident. You see, Millie was prone to tripping. She thought it was just a one-off accident. But Louisa had no idea how wrong she was. As the weeks went by, every morning Louisa would see more darker spots appear on Millie's arm. What was she doing in the night to receive these marks? What exactly was happening to their little girl? The worried parents had hundreds of questions flood their minds. But one thing was for sure, Louisa and her husband knew something wasn't right about their daughter. Fellow moms and teachers saw the marks on Millie's arm at school and feared for the child's well-being. After all, it looked super suspicious. Louisa insisted that the bruises weren't anything to do with her, but she had no idea where they were coming from. Nobody knew what was happening. Louisa and Richie were worried about Millie's health. Perhaps she had some sort of medical condition. Armed with determination and worry, they visited the doctor with Millie in hopes of finding out the truth. But what the doctor told Louisa and her husband left them even more stumped. You see, Millie didn't have anything wrong with her. There was nothing strange or worrying about her results. Although relieved to hear their daughter was healthy, Louisa and Richie were still heartbroken to not find out the cause of their daughter's marks. The worried parents knew they had to find out the truth. They had to see what their daughter was doing in her bed to get these marks. So they purchased a secret camera and set it up in their daughter's bedroom. Louisa went to bed feeling relieved, knowing that the truth would finally be revealed tomorrow when she reviewed the footage. But Louisa never expected to see what she did. Following morning, Louisa woke up Millie bright and early, ready for school. As Millie got herself dressed, Louisa retrieved the hidden camera in order to watch the footage back. Louisa dropped Millie off at school and headed back home, eager to find out the truth. She had no idea that what she was about to see would change her life completely. Louisa presses play on the footage, and she can feel her heartbeat in her throat. At first, it was just Millie lying peacefully in her bed, cuddling her favorite teddy bear. 30 minutes passed and nothing looked out of the ordinary. Then suddenly, Louisa saw something on the footage and her mouth dropped. It's had to be a joke, right? Louisa feels sick to her stomach. She blinks 4 times, thinking she was seeing things on the footage, but she wasn't. This was reality. She wanted so badly to cuddle her little girl, but after watching this, she knew things would be different. She sees her daughter's face on the footage and a chill runs up her spine. You see, in the footage, it showed a peaceful Millie sleeping in her bed. But 30 minutes in, Millie suddenly appeared to be thrashing in her sleep. The movements she made looked eerily creepy and unnatural, as if she was being possessed. What was going on? As soon as Louisa saw, she knew something was wrong. Louisa frantically showed her husband the footage, and he was equally astonished. What had happened to their little girl? They finally had the answers as to where their daughter's bruises were coming from, but after watching the footage, they were left with even more questions. The worried parents showed their doctors the footage, but he had no idea what was happening either. He was just as lost for words. Still, to this day, the Smith family never found out what was wrong with their daughter.